Stream Pog. What's the MMR looking like right now?
6,300.
Oh, that's high, man. Good job.
Thank you.
Exciting. How do you feel about that?
Pretty good. I've been really enjoying feeling better at Dota, and not just because of the MMR, but obviously that helps. But I feel like a lot of the things that we've kind of been talking about have really been resonating with me. I'm putting a lot of focus into my mental state when playing Dota and like when I choose to play, I guess.
Hmm.
And I think that's kind of been um, one of the biggest factors overall to like me playing good versus me not playing so good.
What
But
what are some key things you've noticed about like when to play and stuff? Like what observations do you?
um, I mean, just like personally, like I might be hungry, I might be tired, just sort of different things in my. I think a lot of I think you said something pretty recently that really stuck out to me. Of a lot of people play a video game to maybe relax and like escape, but Dota is not a very relaxing game. um,
Yeah.
and it requires a lot of focus, and finding times in which I'm able to give that focus um, has kind of been a difference maker.
Nice. Yeah, I mean that was something I went through like a year or two ago, and I even stopped doing it for a while because I kind of what happens is you don't realize how useful a habit is, and then you go against that habit for X amount of time, and then you're like, wait a minute, I remember I used to do this differently, and it used to be better. I think there's just things that in life that are great to do that utilize the battery, and there's things that recharge the battery. I don't think Dota's a recharge of the battery.
Right.
It's much more of a use of the battery. Now people talk about like there are people that can use it to relax, but I don't really believe that you're somebody who's like climbing. You know what I mean? You're not like trying to improve really if you're in Dota and you find it relaxing. I mean, maybe there's some people out there that have managed to do that, but for me, I would call it relaxing in the way that, something like work or gym would be fulfilling in a relaxing way. It's like I
Right.
feel better because I'm accomplishing something doing this, but it's not like I feel chill after I'm done doing it. So yeah, no. It's good to hear, man. Was there anything else you'd like to say?
Just as we kind of get into this replay here, I wanted to maybe spend a lot of the session kind of talking about Mars.
Sure.
Because Mars is kind of my crux as like or maybe that's not the right word, but like kind of my kryptonite as like an offlane player. I really don't care too much for Mars. The blink initiating type heroes just don't. They're not like my usual style, I guess. Um, but I kind of would like to develop some skill there.
Okay.
So I've been playing a little bit of Mars recently. Um, and this is my most recent game with it. I do pretty decently in this game, but I still would like a fresh set of eyes on it maybe and to talk it over, because this is one of those games where after a certain point, the whole team kind of just coasts. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I look at your starting items and I'm curious what the thought is with the wand.
um, this is so. I am just pretty partial to doing these wand type starts, wand and 3 branches, and then it's like really easy for me to go into other items that I may want without having to worry about it later.
Hmm.
I know that it isn't like the most optimal here necessarily. However, I think against like an Animage, it's
What do you think
still
is
a lot of
optimal, like,
stats.
when you say that?
I mean, I think, thinking strictly about like laning against Animage, I might want to just do 2 gauntlets and circlets and like max out even heavier into
That's what I was leaning towards.
stats.
So I'm curious, so
Uh,
the one is more of a straightforward build path for you, or what's the...
it's a bit straightforward to me on a lot of heroes. It's also one of those where I kind of find when I do the stat start, like gauntlets and circlets and all that, I kind of don't fit wand in very. I struggle to find a time later on when I want to buy wand,
Hmm,
and I feel like I kind of should.
I see.
So
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, one thing about Mars that you're not really considering, I feel like, is that the hero has a really long base attack time. So in these type of moments, if I'm going to hit this creep, um, I do need to defensively aggro it first. Um, you've done this twice or 3 times already, one of the two. Maybe you just haven't gotten the hang of his last hit damage, perhaps, because they're all very close.
right.
That could answer that. But I feel like Mars is a really good hero for these type of lanes to defensively aggro against melees, and then if they walk into you, you rebuke them. Otherwise, like, they don't want to walk into you, sort of deal. A small observation so far. Bracer.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I overcorrect here. I think I should have played for that range creep just sooner, and
Yeah, it's
or maybe steered
interesting
for it.
because I think you're in control in this lane. Do you agree?
Yeah,
So when you're in control, um, this auto attack right here, is just a very unnecessary auto attack because you're accelerating the time in which creeps die, which means that you have less time to click them. And since you're melee, you don't really care that the creeps aggro you because you have like full HP, 2 tangos, a bracer. Like, we don't mind taking damage here. So I think the only reason I ever attack creeps like this is because I don't want the creeps to push into me because I don't want to take damage. Like, that's how I look at it. So I think this attack on the creep is what puts you on a timer, which makes this really awkward. Like, whenever this would happen, if I'm in control of the lane, I'm thinking I'm going to let my range creep go down to half, and then I'm going to aggro off of it. Like, that's what my timing is going to be, and I'm going to be walking forward towards their range creep. I'm going to get that last hit, turn around, and deny mine. Like, that's how I plan to play it out pretty much every time when I'm in control of the lane like this. So yeah, there's just a lot of not doing that. that's there's a lot of stuff going on there. So if you have questions or thoughts, we can pause. But that's what I would go for. I can rewind it because I know I said a lot. Like, in this moment, like, my thought would be I'm not clicking any of these creeps. I'm letting these creeps aggro to here, and I'm walking forward, contesting this, and I'm around here. I'm purposely drawing aggro off of my range when it hits half. That's how I would play this.
Okay.
What are your thoughts there? Anything?
Yeah, that sounds good. I think I wanted to trade with Bounty Hunter here with Weaver.
Hmm.
Like I was kind of fine with him walking up and doing something that wouldn't favor him. But that's kind of me
I guess
over
for me in this
focusing maybe
helm,
on.
go ahead.
That's kind of maybe me like focusing too much on what he's doing in that moment instead of the bigger picture.
I think in the Helm Dom meta, if I see this, I'm like fucking this anti-mage as much as I can.
Yeah.
I think as an offlaner, when you're like rushing Ring of Health or rushing Helm of Iron Will, and the guy just like bullies you before it, I think feels like really bad. So I think in this case, like you have anti-mage who's rushing a big item, and you have bounty hunter support with 9 armor. It's like I would just be prioritizing anti-mage a bit higher the whole time.
Okay.
Fortunately, I did like you are controlling the lane, and I think anti-mage even to some degree rushed his thing too much, but I do see a lot of people doing this build, so like that's an example where these rebukes, I wouldn't be using them. Like I would hit this guy once, and then I'd walk back to the anti-mage and rebuke him again.
Okay.
I think there's been about 4 or 5 times where you hit the bounty where I would have prioritized the anti-mage. For me, it's because if anti-mage is half HP, he's just fucking useless. Like he literally does nothing. So my goal would be to get him down to half HP, and then I can even play up in his face while bounty hunter's there, and then I can hit the bounty hunter if I want. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like if anti-mage is like this, he can walk at you like a threat, and then he zones you. So I usually against anti-mage, I highly prioritize keeping him half. Like highly prioritize it. It's not always possible, but like you've been controlling the lane, so because I feel like when you hit this stage in the lane where he's level 3-4 and he's allowed to walk at you like this, it becomes very difficult to ever hit him again.
Yeah, I definitely felt it.
Yeah, that's been my observation experience with anti-mage. Yeah, like you're playing this little cat and mouse game. At this point, honestly, I think you're just supposed to hit him and run out of mana because you have 12 stick charges. I would just be hitting him. I would purposely myself as close as possible, keeping the stick charges, and then I would just hit him like this. Yeah. I would even consider perhaps leveling 1 point in my E in this specific matchup. I don't know if Amar would do the same, but I feel like Amar would probably bully him without having to level his E, but it's worth considering, I think. Meaning, like, you're just going to trade right clicks with him a lot. Because, yeah, now that anti-mage is half, he's just fucking useless. So. And now that he's useless, I want to be playing, like, here. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't want him to be allowed to walk up an aggro. Zeus is kind of annoying now, so maybe that changes. Anti-mage had the doll to jump on you there. That's weird. Okay, we can fast forward. Looks like laning stage is pretty much over. Yeah, so I think my main summary of the laning stage would be maximizing use of control of the lane. Like when I'm in control of the lane, what does that mean exactly when it comes to like range creeps? These are like small little mechanics that will net us 1 or 2 creeps a game kind of thing. And then considering how much we prioritize the support or the carry, like I think Bounty Hunter is pretty much an ogre in this lane. Like his job is to distract you. So I'd be looking at ways to not be distracted by him. And then when you're looking at an anti-mage type carry, which is one that's very polarizing in how useful he is, it's the same as Lifestealer. It's like if Lifestealer carry is sitting at half, then he doesn't ever want to hit you because he's afraid of getting bursted. But if he's sitting at full, the guy's going to walk at you every time his phase boots are up, and it's really annoying, and he chips you down. And like I feel like anti-mage is the same. Usually it's like passive based carries, I guess. It's like Lifestealer, Ursa, Slark, anti-mage. Keeping them at half and like maintaining control, like they can't do anything if you get them there and like keep them there. So it's just a thought that there were probably opportunities in there. with this specific matchup. But yeah. Overall though, you obviously played the lane. You executed it better than the anti-mage because you have won the lane. So let's see. So I feel like what a lot of offlaners would do here is that when you're against Helm Dom heroes, people just sack the lane now. Like in my experience, unless you're getting ganked for, there's like no reason to lane anymore. That's what I've seen. When the Helm Dom comes out. Obviously this might be irrelevant in like a week or something. I doubt it.
Right.
But the idea is that you're not killing Anti-Mage without a gank. You're not winning the battle without a gank. And there's actually nothing stopping him from just blinking on you. And that's like best case scenario if you're like 1v1. You know what I mean? So I feel like walking up here is just asking for something like this to happen. And we can just assume that Anti-Mage has the lane and we can just like go kill a hard camp. You know? And then come back to the lane underneath our tower. I actually noticed it because I watched a few of XXS's games from the finals. And I had been watching other offlaners recently, and I feel like they're almost always playing these camps when the opponent carry is like buying a Helm Dom or becomes unkillable in some way. So prioritizing those very highly. And I think just recognizing I can't bully this guy anymore, play for my game. And what that looks like this patch is to play those camps and then scoop up the lane under tower. Mars isn't like the best at that, but yeah, the way I look at it is if you're scooping the lane up underneath your tower, that's when this might happen. You know, that's when your team might be able to make a play like this and it looks good, you know? But when you're casually walking up by yourself, I don't think any good stuff really ever happens from that. The current Dota. Okay. Not that fucking Helm Dom creep. A little bit distracted there, I'd say. Probably could have killed this guy faster. Yeah, pretty crazy game. Okay. That's just experience with Mark.
That guy was supposed to walk forward, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's the dodge it by standing still strategy. It's interesting for me that you guys dive at all. For me, it's like God Strength is expiring. I'm half HP. We have a catapult, so like, and we have Tinker. I'm like purely in turtle mode right now. Like, let's get the tower and out sort of deal. We won the fight. We used our stuff. Let's just take the tower. So I think it's really interesting that you go for this in the first place. Especially like after you miss it.
Yeah.
I'm curious what your general thoughts are when you go for those type of plays. Like what happened here?
I mean, I think in that immediate moment they have two heroes dead, or they had two heroes dead, and like coming back, you know, respawning in that moment. Sniper shows up and we just kind of have like 4 heroes in this area. And I kind of think it's like a pretty easy jump on Sniper and kill him at this stage of the game. Obviously, me missing Spear sucks for that.
I see.
But it kind of seems like also the vibe that my teammates have in that moment of like, we can just kill him.
Okay. That makes sense.
Not that is like dictating why I did it or anything like that. I think I genuinely just had like the same notion of he should die for. He's an easy kill.
There's that dangerous word, right?
Yes, I know.
He should die. The reason why I'm thinking about it is because all the things you said make sense. When I look at these type of scenarios, I feel like if I'm thinking what I was thinking, where, oh, we used God Strength already, I'm half HP, oh, there's a sniper. I'm in the mode of like, I'll fish for a kill. Like, I'll throw a spear at him. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like if it misses, if I'm in that mode of we've used all of our spells, Invoker TP'd mid, we have a Tinker, like I'm thinking like, in my opinion, as close to objectively about the game as possible, without using words like should, then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll fish for a kill here. This guy could get popped. Like he could, you know? And then when I miss the spear, I would then back off. But I feel like when I'm not thinking this way, that's when I don't adjust to things. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll think like you did, where yeah, he should die. And then I miss the spear and I'm like, well, he should die. So then I go try to kill him anyway. You know?
Right.
I feel like if we're perfectly in Zen mode here, I'd throw the spear, miss it, and then back off. Now, what is drawing the connection for me, because I just think you and I have a lot in common in regards to this, is the word should popping up in our head, having expectations. And I would just, encourage you to do what I did, where it's like, okay, what was the exact scenario going into that kill? What could I have been thinking? So we used God Strength. It's like 5 seconds left. I have half HP. Invoker TP'd mid. We have a Tinker, a very good hero for standing still, right? Like turtling around his march rather than diving. So when I think of all those things, that would lead me to being cautiously attempting a kill rather than full on committing no matter what type of kill. So
yeah,
that's my thoughts for that. It's like it's rather nitpicky, but I've almost always found that when I ask somebody about those type of scenarios, there's some word like should or something like that in there, where they have some expectation that has to be met, or they're like not going to be happy, and then they force it basically. And it's not like we're consciously doing that during the game, but then when we draw attention to it, it's like, huh, yeah, pretty common, I think. Okay, so let's see. Okay, a bunch of crazy fights happening here. You're gonna go base. Oof. What happened here? We rush the spear. He died.
I think I try to lead my spears a little too much, but that's that's a small thing. Like that I can just practice.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's
Spear has a weird hitbox on it. It really just takes some time to get used to. Nice. Okay, there's just like constant fighting going on up here. Okay, you run back to your team here. Fish action, no. Oof. You're pursuing. Holy shit. Okay. I would not have done that, but maybe it works. Oh, it works. Okay. Maybe I would have done it. It's different. I don't know. It's like, it's one of those where I say I wouldn't have done it because it looks ballsy, but maybe in the game you're feeling yourself, so it's makes sense to do it. Okay, so UTP bottom after getting those kills. You're gonna finish your blink. I like this. This is nice little detachment from the team. Get your blink. Cooldown's coming up. Now what do you do with it? I'd sit behind Invoker if I'm you. I'd tell Invoker to push that wave, but okay, you have a ward. Never mind. That's fine. Were you calling Sunstrike or no?
yeah, I called for it. It just came late.
I see. That's unfortunate. Okay, we were fed a little bit. Yeah, Yeah, I like this. I'm walking top. I was thinking, I'm like, I would walk top here. Good. Okay, and then you're gonna run through the. Yeah, I like this. Hmm. You have arena on quickcast, or what do you have it on?
I have it on quickcast.
You have it on release or on button press?
I believe on press.
Yeah, I would highly encourage you to change it to on release because that
Okay.
allows you to see the arena. Like for
Yeah.
me, honestly, I'd only see you do this where you miss the tiny because you don't have the ability to see the circle before you cast it. Like I think that's the
Yeah.
only reason you would have that. So I think this is like a very straightforward hit 2 heroes, but if you don't have that setting, it's not straightforward to hit the 2 heroes.
Right.
So I find that setting to be really nice.
Okay.
Try it out. It'll fuck with you for a bit, but it makes these exact placements of arenas like way easier. So it'll take a little getting used to though. Long term, great. Short term, fuck with you a little bit. Interestingly enough, I would almost certainly go pipe here. What are your thoughts on BKB versus pipe here?
I also kind of thought about pipe. I like the idea. I think I'm kind of just playing it safe a little bit, sticking to BKB.
What do you mean by safe? Like, I feel like pipe's also a very safe item.
That's true. It's just as I'm kind of learning Mars, so to speak. You know, the BKB feels like a much more standard, like it's hard to feel that bad about buying BKB. You know?
Yeah, I know. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Anything that's not BKB could be considered a deviation, I think is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Small little nitpicky, I would have definitely cleared the wave here. Small nitpick. Funnily enough about this situation is because they're respawning around this time and we don't have Aegis, right? Yeah. I would have cleared the wave top at 2310 and I would have probably without arena, I probably would have blinked to clear the wave here as well.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this approach, generally speaking?
On what we're doing in the game, or what
I'm telling you
you
to
just
play
said?
for waves, and you're kind of fishing for a kill. Like, what are your thoughts on the difference? I guess.
Yeah. I generally do kind of like playing for waves. I think part of my issue with a hero like Mars, and these sort of blink initiators that I kind of come in with this like issue with, I guess. I feel very much drawn towards like the fishing for kills type plays. Like I think that me having like Yule's spear is still really valuable in this position, and that I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah, I guess. Go ahead.
Like I mean I know what you mean about the waves, and I definitely agree with you that that would probably be the best play here. But I think I kind of think my macro play in regards to that gets like a little bit worse when I'm playing like a Magnus with Skewer or a Mars with Spear or
Yeah, I mean, it muddies the waters a bit. It makes the decision much more complicated. If you're in a Batten, like your choice is to hit that tower 3 times or go clear this wave, which is like pretty straightforward. I mean, I think a lot of it, from what I'm seeing, my thoughts would be is that so like when I look at Sven's items, I don't want to team fight them because he doesn't have BKB. When I look at our lineup, I actually think your hero is really good at counter initiation. I don't think that anti-mage could ever go in. If you're sitting behind like Invoker or Tinker or Weaver, like I don't think they can ever go in. Part of why I would like Pipe a lot more is because I'm thinking about the fights and like I have really easy arena targets with like Zeus and Sniper. Like they're not buying BKBs, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I can just sit behind people and counter initiate. I think the only time I would ever really look to dive aggressively is if Sven was there. And I wouldn't feel that comfortable doing it because he doesn't have BKB. But my point is like I would just be waiting for the fights to break out and then I would be jumping people. Like that's how I would look at this game. And I'm like, as long as they can't blink in on anti-mage, like they can't play this game. Like that's how I think about it. So like for me, I'm probably going like Pipe sheep, you know? That's what like XXS does a lot of, and it's just like that allows me later to also jump anti-mage before he's even blinked in.
Yeah.
Sort of deal. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like when I look at this kill top, like I'm thinking like we're here for an objective. We don't need to get anything else. Like we could fight them. Like there's an opportunity. We could, right? But like that means go fish for a kill here rather than diving. In this case, it's like they're respawning in 10. Maybe we catch Tiny here. But I'm also just thinking like I want to have the wave set up so we get like a free tier 2, we take up their triangle, and we just take Roche. Like that's how I'm thinking about this. Like I'm just going through the next objectives. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that needs to be on your mind even if you're playing an initiator. And you would probably very well struggle with initiators if you're not thinking about the game this way because your hero can kill people. You know?
Right.
You know, my thoughts here is not necessarily it's that it's strictly worse, but if you were to run the simulation 1,000 times, would I rather fish for a kill on Tiny that I don't even know is going to be there? Like he might show up and just feed, right? Or would I rather kill this creep wave and then set up for Roche that way, right? Like if I ran this simulation 1,000 times in a pub, I would choose the one that's reliable. That's what I would choose. Now, that's not what everybody would do. So for me, this is more food for thought rather than what you did is wrong, you know? I think the missing the creep wave at 2310, that was strictly wrong. Like that should have been cleared. But this option is more of a choice. Funny that you didn't go on him at all. If you were here, I would have insta-jumped the guy. So I guess that's a bit odd. I feel like there's maybe some indecisiveness there. I would have never ran back away from my team here because I would have wanted to control the triangle, and I have a hero with global presence. So I would have never done what you're doing here. I think it's really interesting that instead of clearing the wave at 2310 and then clearing this wave, then you hesitated to jump Tiny, then you ran all the way back here. I think this has been your worst minute of the game. Like, by a large margin. You kind of see how this all played out. Like, we missed a wave here, and then we missed a wave technically here, and then we go try to fix the wave with a Tinker on our team. Like, I can ask for your thoughts, but this is like a bit. Like, I actually had a carry player in my coaching class yesterday that consistently was clearing waves near his tier 3, and he had a silencer. And I'm like, dude, just let the global guy clear that creep wave. So it seems like maybe a bit of a refresher is needed for people, just a reminder you could start considering who clears waves on your team. So I have an invoker with bots and I have a tinker. I'm never walking across the map to a creep wave.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get the idea that we want to fix this wave and then get this tier 2. But that's just not our role in the game. So the last thing I'm ever going to give them is fighting my teammates without me there. The one thing I like about Pipe as opposed to BKB, and just food for thought, is that BKB is much more like we're only fighting them with Arena. I want the volley combo to be really strong, while Pipe is more like, if I don't have Arena, I can just stand in front of my team with Pipe. You know what I mean? And serve as the guy in front. But if I have Arena, I'll serve as the guy in back. So it kind of gives me a role outside of Arena. That's why I like Pipe here. Sometimes that role's not good. So, you know, it's not like Pipe's always good, of course. But yeah, so we end up running back to our team. But I do think this was a window that you did give the opponent by not being there. I always tell people... Go ahead.
I think part of me in that moment is, in that situation, they kind of are all respawning. Like when we're sitting outside of their tier 3, 3 of them are dead. We can't really threaten it, right? Like that's definitely a mistake for me to not hit the 2310 creep wave and like the clear the next wave. But then the situation kind of becomes, I don't have Arena for 40 seconds and they have all respawned. I don't necessarily feel like I'm that much of in a hold triangle position. I hear what you mean about Tinker being like a global hero, but I still, like in the game, I felt like I was not very strong in that moment because of that. Because of not having Arena.
I see. So... I believe if you're there, Anti-Mage is never allowed to blink in. And I think that's like a huge deal because he's going to blink in and at the very least you're going to rebuke him and like spear him into a tree and then he might just die. But he's not allowed to blink in. So your power is huge because if we watch this Anti-Mage, like anytime he blinks in, he wouldn't be allowed to do this if you're there. Like if we watch him, he smokes in, say you're behind the team and he blinks in here, whenever it is. He's actually too afraid to blink in, interestingly enough. I feel like in these moments, you know, this Anti-Mage doesn't get to output nearly as much damage. That's my thought, is what your role in the fight is nothing to do with Arena. It's that their only way to start the fight is Anti-Mage blinking in, and that guy can't blink in. So I think your hero's role is pivotal, even without Arena. Like, my thought, which I said, I understand you didn't think this during the game, so I'm not, like, thinking you're arguing with me. What I'm saying is that if you're a blink initiator, sometimes your job is to just prevent the other guy from blinking in by sitting behind your team. That's a pretty crucial role for blink initiators. Where I've played Axe, and I'm like, that hero's a blink initiator. And then there was like a few games I played him where I would go first and I would just die. And I'm like, I guess I need to let the enemy go first. Like, I actually just have to let them go on my teammates. So it's like, in this sort of game, you have a huge role in regards to how they go on you guys. But when you don't have Arena, you're not really going to fish for kills in the back. You're not going to, like, go jump the sniper. Unless Sven jumps him too or something. But the point is like, your role shifts, but I think you're still very impactful. So, I guess I would just encourage you to consider your hero's power in regards to actually initiating or just sitting behind your teammates. And the counter threat that you offer, that can be very potent and it can prevent any openings for the opponent, I guess you could say. That's how I look at it. Like, you're just not giving them openings when you do that. And then once you have Arena again, because the fight plays out for 30 seconds, That's great. I guess all I'm looking at is that it's really hard to fight into you guys because they don't have a way to fight without anti-mage blinking in, and you guys have a lot of tools to prevent him from blinking in. You have a hero like Tinker who groups up really well. You have Invoker with like Helmdom Forge Spirits that's like really hard to fight into. And Sven had God Strength still, so like I would think they're probably going to go into their own triangle. We're going to fuck them there. Like that's what I would think. Rather than I don't want to fight them because they're all alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just food for thought because this is gonna stuff that's gonna start breaking the tie when you get to like 7 or 8K. Like you make these calls or you have this presence of mind and your teammates and enemies don't. You know what I mean? These are type of decision making that really starts to matter around that bracket. So I do think your MMR was artificially deflated by virtue of the stuff that you mentioned at the start, just like extraneous stuff that surrounds the game. So I think you're probably due to climb just a little bit. I don't want to set any expectations, but I'm saying there's going to be a point where I think this decision making is going to hit a wall for you. So I think it's important we start considering it now, and then maybe it'll be less unsettling when the wall hits.
Definitely. I feel like there is a big difference for me in those kinds of questions with like certain like hero comforts, which like naturally, right?
Yeah.
But it is like a good way to think about it. So I'll definitely be looking out for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I'm telling you today, if I'm guessing correctly, is that I'm telling you decisions you kind of already make, but you know how to make them better on non-blink initiators than you do on blink initiators. So, and you said you struggle with these type of heroes, so it makes sense. A lot of times we just need to draw that little bridge between the skill we're applying, and sometimes we're like, we don't even realize it. We're able to apply it to certain heroes, and then we don't apply it to others, and then it's like, but I already know this. There maybe just needs to be like a small tweak on the question. Sometimes it requires a bit more knowledge about the question. Like, if our choice is between hitting the tier 3 or clearing that wave, it's pretty straightforward to clear that wave. But if our choice is between fishing for a kill and clearing that wave, it's a lot more complicated because it's like, when are they respawning? Like, how fast do we kill the guy? What are the odds he's going to be there? All that kind of stuff. And I also have to know that if I'm fishing for that kill and they have 10 seconds on their respawn, that I'm zero hesitation going on that guy if I see him. Yeah. Right? So then it's like this combination of setting it up in our head, and then if he does that, which we saw the Tiny do, we would have blink Yulesed him and killed him there. So it actually would have worked out. I think you actually did the perfectly wishy-washy play, which didn't accomplish either. It's really funny, right? Because you didn't clear the wave, then you, like this wave here, then you didn't go for the kill, then you didn't clear this wave, then you walked to go clear the waves. So that was just a really awkward minute for you. That was a really awkward minute. And I can see how like the decision making just needs to be refined a little bit over time in regards to this type of stuff. I think the biggest thing I would tell you, because it may be a problem for you, I don't actually know, is that if you commit to looking for a kill, just do it. Like, when regards to these late game scenarios, like, Mars is just one of those heroes where you're gonna fucking miss spears, you're gonna use arenas and it's not gonna work. Like, I watch the best Mars players in the world, and other than maybe Amar, I feel like that guy never misses. But I feel like other than Amar, I feel like all of them miss, and it's just like, it is what it is, go for it. The hero feels really wonky because sometimes you just miss. But I would like to see these plays at least with less hesitation over time. And like, I almost admire this play now. But more in like the mid to late game, just go for it if you think it's the correct play, kind of thing.
Okay.
So, did you have another game to watch?
Yeah, we can definitely. I wasn't necessarily ready for it, but I definitely can like pull up a replay that I'd like to look at.
Yeah, I'd
So,
say generally
sure.
replays for me don't take an hour, but yeah, we'll spend 15-20 minutes on this replay. Can't they start a fight with Tiny blinking in? So the problem with this last draft is that when you think of Tiny blinking in, it's really hard for him to catch heroes because Tinker is going to be in the back. Weaver can like go invis. Volker has like a bunch of summons around him, and like who's he tossing them to? Like Bounty Hunter or something? Like there's no like Tiny into this, so he can maybe displace somebody, but what I'm trying to say is until Anti-Mage blinks in, there's like no meaningful damage here. Nobody's getting bursted without Anti-Mage, so even if Tiny can initiate, quote unquote, the fight has not actually started until Anti-Mage blinks in, is how I look at it. Figured I would answer that question because it's, you know, maybe food for thought for you as well.
When I'm playing like a hero like Mars, or Magnus is my other main example of just a hero that I just do not feel comfortable on. Like
I'm not
ever.
a very good Magnus player. Yeah.
Yeah, but whenever I play one of those heroes, I almost always think to myself that I really want someone else on my team to start the fight first. Like I kind of almost always want like an Ember Spirit or something to like, you know, change them up and make my life easier. Because like the first jump, I don't know.
I mean, I think Mars is in
that decision making. It's definitely a struggle for me.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry,
for me, yeah, sorry, I thought you were done before. The biggest thing, like, if we're comparing, like, Mars and Magnus, for instance, right, is, like, the way you can think about your role in the fight, because RP is a hard spell to use, Spear is a hard spell to use, even Arena can be a hard spell to use sometimes. Like, I really think if you were looking at that last game and you just thought, I'm going to sit behind my team all game, and the second Sniper shows his face, he's getting arena'd, like, then... Like, if that conceptual approach is taken to the game, I feel like this decision gets, like, way easier. And then you're going to buy a pipe because there's going to be times where you just want to stand in front for your team. And if they go on you, like, it's just not going to work. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. But then if you're playing a hero like Magnus, you know, you can be the RP, but he also, what makes Magnus, like, better nowadays is that he also has the Ags, right? That he can just fish for people to pull out of position. So... Like, for me, a lot of times, like, when we look at, like, a Mars build in this, like, final game, a lot of times people have, like, BKBs and Lincoln Spheres and shit on Mag just so they can, like, skewer people without getting stopped during the skewer. Like, his entire build is, like, I'm gonna blink in, and I just need to not die when I blink in. Like, look at this build. So... It's just really funny that, like, I feel like when you understand your purpose a bit better, that the execution becomes much easier. Because your items play towards it. Because then you're like, okay, what can they do to stop me from doing this? Like, how can this go wrong? And he's like, well, I could just get insta-blink echoed into SF Requiem, and so he has this. You know? Or I could get Blink Omni Slash, so he has this. You know what I mean? So it's like he's covered all of his bases. It's like really creative thinking, but it's like, for me, it all stems from knowing his role in the game. So like, he's not really an RP in this game because if he's sitting behind his Medusa, these good players are not going to all in anybody. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to go on Medusa with 5 heroes and get RP'd. So it's like, it's important he stays behind his team. But RP is not really his main role here because it is technically important, right? But assuming the other team's not incompetent, like, he's not going to get a good RP. So his job here is to, like, one-man RP the fucking Jug one time this game. Like, I remember him having one RP on Ame that got him killed. But, like, for me, that's... What's cool about this is by understanding his role, and I feel like I used to not think this way. Like, I was always littered with these judgments and evaluations of my play, and what that prevented was from me just looking at the bigger picture of the fight, objectively, listing out how I think the fight should go. Like, these abilities will be casted in this order. I'm going to stand here. My role in the fight is this, right? It's like, once I started doing that, my items became more straightforward. I'm drastically improving upon it day by day because I'm still kind of new to it. So I would just say that you probably have a similar issue. And I would just encourage you to really identify, like, are you a counter initiator? Are you an initiator? Are you like, does something have to happen first? What is it? If you're sitting behind your team, who are you sitting behind? What items do you need to like do that job? And if you come back to me with something like that on a Blink initiator, I think it could be like a really meaningful session.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting because we can expand your vision, I think, pretty rapidly with this sort of thing. Because you're new to it. So the amount of learning to do in a small amount of time is vast for sure. And I think your decisions will be much more clear cut. And even if your items end up not working, what I've realized is my items become very obvious why they didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Right.
like, I should have been that guy. I would have rather have been that guy. The guy that like sits in the back, or the guy that stands in front of his team with pipe. It's like, you kind of learn to embrace all the possible roles of a hero rather than thinking of him as like a combo. Which the heroes all have combos, but that's not how we want to think about them. That's for like spectators. That's for people who are like 2K MMR and spectate the game. They just think that is a sick combo. That's for them. No offense to those guys. Okay. Yeah, a little annoying to be playing Earthshaker into Clockwork, but you're doing a lot of defensive aggro, so that's cool. Ben die? Oh yeah, he died to Sky, I guess. Okay. Like, when Ben die? I think you have a really funny gauge of when to fight them. This somehow worked. Holy shit. I would have just not done that. That's crazy. It actually worked, though. Kind of. I mean, it did work. It worked.
Yeah, I didn't feel great about it during my death timer.
I mean, dude, that was perfect. You're fucking respawning to a triple wave and Sven missed a bunch of creeps. It ended up being, like, perfect, to be honest. I don't think I would have done it, though. So that's fucking tanking range creeps for no reason. Very good. Okay. Now we can fast forward. Looks like the laning stage is over. Pull it into the range, which is fantastic. What we want to do. Ben's just not here anymore. Playing large. Forward. I think that's kind of cringe that you like pulled the camp and then let the creep wave go by.
Yeah, that's something I find myself having a little bit of an issue with. That'll happen to me sometimes, and I know that like it's not supposed to happen.
What do you think is like is there like a lapse in awareness for a second, or
Yeah, I think there's just times where maybe a lapse in awareness. I think also in part I don't necessarily know if I should go and get like the creep wave and bring it over to the camp, or abandon the camp completely maybe. I mean, this is a Clockwork. I know I probably can in this instance, right? it's not like he's gonna farm it. But
yeah, I guess for me it's more about the order of operations, right? It's like if that's a Sven carry level 5, and if you take the creep wave, he's just gonna kill a stacked camp. Then
yeah,
it's certainly worth it for you to do what you did here to clear the wave, to clear the camp, and maybe miss a creep or two in the wave. So yeah, it could just be perhaps a lack of nuance around it. Like you're not asking yourself, can this guy clear the camp? That might just be as simple as that. Just fix it with does this guy clear the camp if I'm gone? Because for me, it's like you've got 50 seconds to clear this camp until you're being like inefficient. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I can just order of operations it, and I think it's like you're doing things that are both useful, but the order in which we do them then is the key. Yeah, because he ended up getting the lane creeps anyways, so I think the only benefit would be potentially denying him the lane creeps. Because like you're playing over there, but he gets it anyway. Like I don't think you can really stop Clockwork from farming because Clockwork's just kind of good against your hero.
Right.
And I think you kind of put yourself at risk as well by being like over here. Like, honestly, I would have strongly considered with how good of a start I had to go phase boots before the blink dagger to get away from Clockwork and shit. I feel like I would have considered that. Just because you're gonna have like 9-minute blink or something. I've seen all the shakers go fucking blink then phase. I feel like I would have extended my laning phase here. I wouldn't have gone blink. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I mean, yeah, I think it's interesting that you say you would have gone. I think you saying you would have extended your laning phase is really interesting because that's not something I consider very much as far as something that I'm looking to do. Like, I think a lot of times I'm looking to sort of end my laning stage as quickly as possible. And be able to, and sometimes that looks like, you know, taking the tower, right? And then freeing myself to run around the map.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm Earthshaker and it's a little bit harder to do that. But what that is for Earthshaker then is like Blink Dagger. I guess I just don't consider like what makes a situation that I want to, like, as you said, extend my laning stage.
I guess for me, it's a lot about I guess I'm thinking like, okay, so in my case, for me, this is like the most obvious case of extending the lane because of the fact that the carry is like not even contesting you.
Right.
So what I mean is like, what I think of as obvious is that I'm laning and they don't, like, I'm farming this area. Like, I'm controlling this area and I'm like being chillin'. So like, if I was not against a support that countered me, I probably would just go Kaya, to be honest. But since I'm a support that counters, since I'm against a support that counters me, I don't want to give them a kill. I don't want to be some pinata for them, you know, at minute 9 when he gets 6 and, you know, Dawnbreaker ulti comes in. So like, I would be fine to extend my laning phase by like 1,000 gold, but not 2,000 gold. Like I was thinking Kaya and I'm like, but against Clockwork, that's like too much gold. So for me, it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess it's just weighing a lot of different factors. I would default to wanting my laning stage to be as long as possible every single game. And I would recognize when I think it's over. Rather than I want my laning stage to end as soon as possible. That's how I would describe my view of offlane nowadays.
Okay.
You're just a third core that's trying to scale. So I want to be farming as long as possible. I think the biggest thing about offlane is once you leave the lane, you become distinctly a 3 in a lot of games. But like in the first like 12 to 15 minutes where you haven't left your lane really, you're not actually a 3 yet. You know what I mean? You're still equal priority to the 1 and the 2 a lot of the
Yeah,
time.
I'm just farming.
Yeah. So
I get what you mean.
Yeah, so I guess my idea is like I want that stage of the game to go on, but I also recognize that there are things that I need to do in the game sometimes. Like the Invoker's level 9 and my Sand King's level 6. I just have to go fucking kill that guy. You know what I mean? So like if that's what I saw, then I would consider that, you know, okay, I gotta make a play happen. But like I'm looking at the map and I'm like, my Void seems Bing chilling. He's level 6. Like, yeah, he lost his tower, but you know, Void things, whatever. Bing chilling. This guy's Bing chilling. Like, I'm Bing chilling. You know, why do I want to end this Bing chill? You know, that's like how I think about this situation. But I would be considering like, okay, with clock, with Dawn 6, I need to be aware of clock going on me. So like, I would probably have dragged this creep wave like to the big camp or something rather than being clearing it behind their tower. And, you know, making sure Clockwork can't walk up on me, because I do think they have a play on you. I think it's a pub where people are seemingly a bit frustrated, so maybe they won't do that. But I would still give them credit for making the play. That's how I would look at it.
Yeah.
But if you go blink, it's not necessarily wrong. You play more Shaker than me, to be honest. So maybe blink can be used to extend your laning phase. Like, it's fine. Like, you get a kill like that, and then when you don't have echo, you're just laning. So like, maybe this is the ideal approach. I do think the takeaway of trying to extend your laning phase is meaningful, though. So now you're kind of walking around. Okay. Yeah, you guys closed the map off pretty fast, it looks like. And you're going to TP top. I like this. Okay. I like this a lot. This is good. Very good. Okay, my thought is you don't use these camps. Like, I would have defaulted instantly to these camps here. Like, I'm at 400 HP. I'll die 10%, 20% of the time here. I'll never die over here. And also, these two camps can be dragged into each other as a hero like Shaker, and you can fissure both of them at the same time, and then, like, enchant Toto them both at the same time. Yeah. So, and I feel like in the 2 games I've watched today, you haven't touched these 2 camps.
Right.
So I think you're underutilizing those camps a lot.
Okay. And
then I would say those are my main takeaways from today. I feel like we had some good ones. Was there any other portion of this game specifically you'd like to watch?
This game specifically, no. This is just like a pretty recent one that I was kind of thinking about showing you. I kind of end this game with like a lot of deaths, but I think that's maybe if I buy like a BKB before I buy Octarine Core, that doesn't happen. But that's like a, you know.
Honestly, I would have just bought a 4-staff. I would have, like, right now, I would have bought a 4-staff. Like, after the Kaya. Maybe after Shard. Like, maybe I would have gone Shard first, depending. But I feel like 4-staff literally saves you from everything. Like, Clockwork Hook into Dawn ulti. Like, you just 4-staff out of it.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's a weird item, but it's 2k gold for literally the only way they kill you. So, right. I feel like 4-staff would be sick here. That's what I would buy. If I'm considering not dying, and then in the late game fights, I definitely would want a BKB, but I think you could have items that play the map as well. I think the Kaya Yasha is a bit greedy for sure. Like, not to eventually get, but to get it now. Okay, so you... Okay, so the way I think about the map is that every core in the game buys like 1 or 2 items that help them farm, right? In your case, this is the Kaya. A lot of times the 2 and 3 will also make an item that helps them make plays, right? So I have like, do I have the item that helps me farm, and do I have the item that helps me make plays? My next item will always be, how do I not die while I'm doing that? Right? Like that's just, especially when you're winning. Like, especially when you're winning, just don't die. So, you know, in this case, it's like, I would just go Force Staff because it addresses the way they would pick me off. And I would like to play by myself on the map. But if the game's maybe a bit closer and we feel like team fights are going to happen, maybe I go BKB now. You know? These are all just food for thought, but I feel like your item after Kaya, like Shard kind of helps you with that because you can clear waves from out of vision. So like Shard could be considered worth it in some games as like the best item to keep you alive. Because you just don't show on creep waves anymore. But you know what I mean? Like the item here shouldn't be the Yasha. It should be, how do I die? And do I need something to not die? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that formula is generally very useful to follow. And you would only go Kaya Yasha if you feel like there was no item you needed not to die. And so in this case, I'm just like, how do I die? Clockwork Hook and a Dawn ulti, Sunstrike. Yeah, that's probably it. And I just buy a 4-step. So
okay. Definitely. Eventually, my problem was just kind of the Invoker, like full combos sort of thing, you know, which kind of drew me to the BKB. I never thought about Force Staff in this game, which I don't play that much Shaker, you know, like this gold tier is from like, you know, years of Dota Plus or whatever. But so, you know, just straight up, Force Staff never crossed the mind. BKB was one that I knew eventually I would probably like because I, you know, almost always want BKB when I'm playing against an Invoker.
I mean, what I'm saying is I feel like my build here would have been Force Staff somewhere in here. I'd either go Shard, then Force Staff, or Force Staff, then Shard. Then I'm probably going like bots, BKB, Octarine. Like that's probably how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
The Force Staff in this case is the cheapest. Like usually in this part of the game, I find the cheapest item that keeps me alive.
Okay.
Like what is the cheapest item I can buy? You know, is it a Yule Scepter? Is it a Force Staff? Is it a BKB? Like maybe there's no item cheaper than BKB that keeps you alive. You know what I mean? Right. But I just try to pinpoint whatever that item is. Like in this case, if we look at this kill, it'd be really nice if you had a Force Staff right now. You just turn this direction and Force Staff out of this shit. But yeah, this is like one of those things where I see you making a play and I don't have a way out of the fight. Like I don't have a way to survive, so I just don't make these plays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I think the conceptual of like my role is this, or like I'm playing the map. So like my role is this, which I think at this stage of the game, your role is to just scale and not die. Like that's actually your role in this game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd say between 15 to 25, when you're winning, that's usually your role. Like we haven't gotten to the complex part of like who goes in front, who goes first. Like that does matter, but we're not there yet particularly. You know? It's much more map play still, not as many team fights at this stage of the game. So my role in the game, I'm thinking more about what's my role on the map, how do I execute it, rather than anything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, cool. I'm going to wrap up the replay then there. Did you have any final questions?
No.
Good, man. Awesome. Then I was gonna say boot you because that's what I say in my coaching session, coaching classes. But I'll send you off. So have a good one.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. See ya.